The third paper is by a group of 4. We have 3 of the group with us, and we are very happy. It's Giulia Brandinelli, Chiara Pompa, who is absent, and she's represented by her colleagues, Giorgia Ravaioli and Benedetta Susi. And I'm going to read a few lines about her. They have normal CVs, but I have Giulia Brandinelli is a research fellow at the University of Bologna, and she also serves as a curator of the Archivio Maria Lai. Chiara Pompa is an adjunct professor at the University of Bologna, where she teaches archives enhancement for fashion. Giorgia Ravaioli is a PhD candidate in photography at the University of Bologna and serves as an adjunct professor in the history of photography at both the University of Torino and in Urbino too. And Benedetta Susi is a PhD student in arts, history and society at the University of Bologna and a fellow of the Research Center of Photography, Art Feminism, Identity Politics and Gender Strategies. It is a research project that you're presenting, yes. So many thanks for this, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. It's a pleasure for me and my group to present our paper, which is called, is it possible to show the presentation? Okay. Thank you. It's called Uncovering the Legacy of Italian Feminist Photography, the Untold History of Guido Giuliano and Sfinge. I will start right away with an extract from a holographic will. In the name of God, hoping for his help, blessing the life I love so much, in spite of its inevitable ills, I make my will today in full conscience. Coming to death, may God forsake me. I bestow all my possessions, movable and immovable, upon my more than friend, sister of choice, Bianca Bellinzaghi, to whom I'm bound by all the sweetest and most sacred feelings of friendship that can unite 2 human creatures. She has been for many years now, but especially for the last 10 years, since my beloved father died, the most cherished companion of my life, my comfort, my serene light, my blessed little family, because in her great heart have found a place for me the highest, most generous sentiments that honor the human creature. And I reciprocate her with equal immense affection, with a tenderness that can only be called maternal or filial. In the heartfelt preamble of her holographic will, dated June 21st, 1917, Countess Eugenia Codronchi-Argeli bestowed upon her beloved confidant and life partner, sister of choice, as she called her, Bianca Bellinzaghi, the title of her sole universal heir. Additionally, she charged her with the responsibility of bequeathing her cherished book collection to the Municipal Library of Imola, her hometown in Emilia-Romagna, Italy. Now introducing the 2 women through this pair of honorific portraits taken in the same studio in 1919, Eugenia Codronchi-Argeli, on the left-hand side, was born in Imola in 1865. Esteemed as a poetess, novelist, and publicist, she began writing prolifically under the pseudonym of Sfinge, Sphinx in Italian, as early as 1878. Her work spans a wide range of genres, including monographs and openly feminist essays celebrating the lives of prominent women, such as Feminismo Storico, Studi, in 1901, and Femminismo Tragico, in 1908. Partially due to the disparity in social position, information regarding Bianca Bellinzaghi, right-hand side, is scarce. Born in Milan in 1861, she embarked on a literary career at the age of 34, adopting the male pseudonym Guido Giuliano, under which she published numerous travelogues and storybooks. Codronchi-Argeli and Bellinzaghi resided together from about 1907 to 1934 at the Countess' family villa, then renamed Villa Coccapane, located in Castel San Pietro dell'Emilia near Imola. Since the Countess's death in 1934 and that of her companion Bellinzaghi 9 years later, the histories of the documentary collections, once owned by the two women, have become intertwined, giving rise to a conjoined archival collection now housed in the Imola Library. This comprises various types of documents, including around 3,000 books, 1,800 volumes of musical works and scores, hundreds of letters, manuscripts, and legal acts, as well as, of course, several thousand photographs, postcards, and prints. In the decades following the donations to the public archive, the cultural biography of the fund took on new layers of complexity. Notably, a portion of the holdings, 3 photographic albums and various private photographs of the couple, remained uncatalogued and concealed. This was ostensibly attributed to the perceived sensitivity of their content, which, upon closer examination, revealed evidence of the long-term romantic partnership and cohabitation of the two. Consequently, the institution erred on the side of caution, choosing to preserve these precious materials while awaiting scholars capable of properly contextualizing and appreciating their historical and cultural significance. Only recently have they been rediscovered, allowing for a novel interpretation of the couple's story and, crucially, the acknowledgement of the pivotal role photography played in various facets of their private and public lives. This study was carried out as part of a 3-year national research project titled Italian Feminist Photography, which examines the role of women, meaning individuals self-identified as such, in pre-1980 Italian photography in relation to emancipation movements and feminism. Researchers from several universities, namely Bologna, Rome, and Parma, are reconstructing this history through the first comprehensive survey of historical photographic production and related documents from public and private institutions across the country, which is being progressively collected into a digital archive to be made public in 2025. You can see a preview of the archive here. So in addition to addressing the gaps in previous accounts of post-war feminist photographers and militant art collectives, the project also aims to shed light on the ways women challenged traditional gender norms in late 19th and early 20th century Italy. For this latter part, a significant influence shaping our project's trajectory has been Claire Raymond's seminal essay, Women, Photographers, and Feminist Aesthetics, and her thematization of implicit feminism, a reflexive category bringing together practices from different socio-historical contexts, transcending overt militancy, yet still united in articulating discourses on gender in new and different ways. This study represents the first attempt to review the couple's historical materials, advocating for the recognition of numerous compelling reasons why the photographic legacy of Codronchi-Argeli and Bellinzaghi warrants scholarly attention and appreciation. Firstly, as the performance of gender and sexuality in photographic space has always been in dialogue with, whether mainstream or liminal, national gender imaginaries, this exploration gains particular relevance against a backdrop of the legal decriminalization of homosexuality, with Italy standing as one of the pioneering countries in Europe to achieve this milestone through the efforts of Justice Minister Zanardelli and the subsequent implementation of the Penal Code in 1889. Although the legal directive may appear progressive, it was instead a product of negotiation, wherein homosexual behavior was tolerated, provided it remained concealed, with the consequence of it often remaining a clandestine aspect of personal life, confined within the domestic space. In connection to this photographic collection holds a significant documentary value as it represents a rare historical case of queer female photography in Italy. Indeed, despite scholarly efforts to investigate the articulations of gender fluidity through photography since the 1980s, the canon of queer visual legacy still remains predominantly populated by male figures, with very limited recognition given to women and non-binary photographers. Photography played a pivotal role in the burgeoning love affair between Codronchi-Argeli and Bellinzaghi, who regularly exchanged portraits with handwritten dedications in the early stages of their relationship. From the dates on these photos, we can establish the beginning of their acquaintance in 1903, during which they exchanged 5 professional portraits. As you can see, the dedications on them reflect their deepening closeness through their increasingly intimate tone. Judging by its formality, the first portrait is likely one given by Codronchi-Argeli to Bellinzaghi. Here on the left, you can see the use of surname Tu Bianca Bellinzaghi. The second one they exchanged is likely this half-length image of Bellinzaghi, which features some striking gender subversive elements and has a dedication that indicates a more intimate, yet still professional relationship. The entire caption on the card reads, "To Eugenia, with the wish for the noblest victories in life and art." And its professional aura is further suggested by the use of pseudonyms, Tu Sfinge, with lively friendship, Guido San Giuliano. The final two, later on, clearly mark the onset of their romantic involvement with phrases like, "To my beloved," and "all yours." An aspect of interest pertains to the couple's active involvement in feminist literary circles and lesbian high culture. Sorry, this is the old PowerPoint. Underscoring Photographies' often overlooked role in shaping these cultural spheres in early 20th century Italy. A closer examination of their correspondence and photographic exchanges with key figures in these circles not only provides a glimpse into alternative forms of affiliation and community for the time, thereby affirming the camera's long-standing capacity for world-making, but also prompts reflection on the interplay between non-normative gender expression, social standing, and wealth. In fact, these documents illuminate interactions with numerous prominent figures, including Jane Grey, the pseudonym of Clelia Romano Pellicano, a member of the National Council of Italian Women, and Lina Poletti, a feminist writer who was also one of the first women in Italy to openly declare her homosexuality. Within the network of these relationships, photography emerges as a recurrent medium for emotional communication and self-expression, encapsulating both the quest for feminist autonomy and the rejection of gender stereotypes, also pursued by these women in their literary production. As you can see here, textual elements on the images often reinforce this connotation by emphasizing the adoption of pseudonyms used for activism and artistic endeavors, such as Sfinge, Jane Grey, and so on. Also interesting in this respect are the photo exchanges with Luigi Orsini and Lamberto Pavanelli, a gay couple Bellinzaghi and Codronchi-Argeli were very close to, whom they frequented assiduously, and together referred to as the Fantastic Quartet. To further validate this particular social network and the desire to document it, one of the couple's photographic albums, titled Portraits of Illustrious Women, is emblematic. It contains carte de visite and cabinet cards of famous feminists, revered as exemplars of both conduct and thought, such as George Eliot, Rosa Bonheur, and George Sand. Furthermore, the inscriptions visible on the back of these photos show that many of them were gifted to the couple by their acquaintances, underscoring how photography functioned as a catalyst for social connections and a vehicle for affective meanings, occasionally also becoming a means to traverse social distances that various gendered physical bodies could not. Of course, Codronchi-Argeli and Bellinzaghi were not only collectors, but also producers of photographs themselves. The recent rediscovery of 3 albums presents an invaluable opportunity to scrutinize their content within the framework of their distinct context, and also to address the pivotal role historically played by the medium of the album in encoding photographic meaning. In this regard, the first one, on the left, is particularly eloquent in certifying the couple's deep affection and attesting to their privileged condition of public exposure for a homosexual couple of the time. The second one authenticates their family status, affirmed outside the legal boundaries of marriage denied to them, while the third album expresses Bellinzaghi's evolving identity. A recurrent feature in all 3 is the presence of several mirror portraits, testifying to their increasingly intertwined lives and their willingness to document their simultaneous presence in the same places. For instance, Sfinge's portrait on the top left, taken in Rome in 1904, bears the significant signature of Bellinzagi's male alias, Guido San Giuliano, while Bellinzagi's adjacent portrait is accompanied by the caption, Sfinge's masterpiece. Another pair was taken in Switzerland, mere moments apart in the same location, while the third depicts them closely sitting in a carriage at Villa Coccapane, simply swapping places. One more captivating group of images features the two women standing proudly before the entrance of their cherished abode, Villa Coccapane, the refuge and escape from mundanity, often immortalized in shots from 1905. By choosing to be portrayed on the threshold of their residence, they seem to affirm their status as a united couple within the esteemed Codronchiargelli lineage. And this particular use of the album as a virtual space for assembling intimate chronicles is especially significant in the visual articulation of unconventional family bonds as exemplified by the relationship of the two women, who, as noted in the Countess' wills, regarded each other as a family. Throughout the pages, the diminishing number of human subjects is then counterbalanced by the increasingly vibrant presence and meticulous depiction of Villa Coccapane. From glimpses into their bedroom to detailed descriptions of Sfinge's studio, and finally, sweeping views of the surrounding exteriors, each space is portrayed from almost voyeuristic perspectives, imbuing the passage of time within the domestic walls with vivid life. Finally, the third album, the last one to be compiled, unlabeled and adorned with painted flowers, allows for an examination of Bellinzagi's path of self-expression, as it features a number of gender-subversive elements. Beginning with the unmistakably androgynous attire worn in 1903, where she presents herself with closely cropped hair and masculine accessories such as a tie, and evolving into an increasingly masculine style over the years, the images culminate in Bellinzagi often depicted engaging in traditionally male-coded activities such as smoking by the early 40s. Although these aesthetics do not necessarily imply that Bellinzagi identified as a man, in fact she continued to use her feminine birth name until her death, they do demonstrate her ease in transgressing dominant societal codes, as well as her use of photography to challenge received notions of womanhood. These photos collectively speak to the complex interplay of visibility, invisibility, privacy, and exposure, historically inherent in the legacies of representation of gender non-conforming individuals. In this regard, while we understand that it is questionable how ethical it is to share such private photographs in our archive, potentially to the detriment of the subject's privacy, it is nevertheless crucial to emphasize that they were, in fact, donated by Bellinzagi herself to the Imola Municipal Library without any distinction of destination with respect to the rest of the material now accessible to the public. Ultimately, the study of the Codronchiargelli and Bellinzagi collection has the potential to reveal a more nuanced understanding of the manifestation of lesbianism in early 20th century Italy, thereby contributing, hopefully, to a more inclusive and comprehensive historical narrative. Thank you.